All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Will's Doggy Daycare. Gonna be doing some grooming. No, I'm kidding. Welcome back to another episode of Will's Basement. We've got a cool project today. We're working on, not this thing, not yet, it's coming, the Jeep. We're working on the gray JKU Rubicon. And so we're gonna get going on that. We're doing a new rear bumper from MOTOBILT. So we'll get going on that right now, get these dogs out of the way, and get rocking. We are gonna be installing a new MOTOBILT rear bumper on this guy. You guys have seen this before. Did the Nemesis Industry fender flares. And the TerraFlex lift and stuff. So we're gonna get rid of this plastic rear bumper and do something a little bit better. Check out these dirty laugh wheels. So yeah, we'll get that thing ripped off. These come off pretty easy. Not too many bolts, and then we'll start putting the new one on. So to remove the factory JK rear bumper, there's 2 bolts right there on either side, and then there's 2 in the middle up underneath here. You don't really need to take the spare tire off. You can just kind of swing the door open and finagle the bumper around. I am going to take this one off because we got a little something special that's also going on later today. So I'm going to start taking those bolts off and we'll get this bumper out of here. So these bolts on either side and the ones in the back are 16 millimeter. So you can just do it with a 16 millimeter ratchet. Shout out to Matco. These ratchets are the bomb. On the center ones, I like to use a ratcheting wrench just because it's a little tight between that and the factory exhaust. So I'm gonna do those 2 on the other side and we'll rip this thing off. As you can see, no problem. Okay, so the last thing we gotta do before we can put the new bumper on is get rid of this bracket here. So there's 2 bolts here and one that goes up through. And then they go to like a little nut plate system in the back that we're just gonna take out because we won't be using that anymore. Scratch that. Okay, it's like my good buddy Jeremy Clarkson always says, power! Okay guys, factory rear stuff is all off. So let me go show you what we got to replace it. Spoiler alert, it's locked. Double locked. Don't I feel dumb? There she is, boys. Color matched MOTOBILT rear bump. You can see though, this is a great looking bumper. It's got provisions for LED backup lights, and then all of these little holes can get used as high lift mounts to jack your vehicle up. This indentation is a lot lower, so you can fit a much bigger tire. And of course you got integrated D-rings. And of course, we had it color matched perfectly. All powder coated, no paint. This is obviously a little dirty, but it looks good, trust me. And then it gives a good line with the Nemesis flares too. much cleaner look. So yeah, we'll get this thing bolted up. Okay, so this thing bolts up using 2 of the factory 16 millimeter bolts on either side. It goes right in here, and then the bumper comes with 2 of these bolts that'll go through this hole, and then you have a nut and a washer on the backside with this plate. I just prime these plates just so they don't rust. So these holes here are slotted so you can get the bumper in and out and up and down the way you want it. So just start them off kind of loose, and then once you get it where you want it, tighten them down. Obviously do these ones first too. And with the powder coat, it's a little tight. So I'm gonna get my really expensive Matco hammer. Shout out to Matco. All right guys, there it is. The MOTOBILT Crusher rear bumper. It looks great, really follows the lines of the Jeep well. Super easy to install. Gives a lot more room for a tire to hang down there. But like I said, we got something special planned. All right guys, it's been many moons since we were working on the Jeep, but the special surprise is back from powder coating, and it looks good. Check this out, guys. It's a GENRIGHT aluminum spare tire carrier, and of course, like everything on this build, we had it powder coated to match. So yeah, pretty stoked on this. Comes with all the brackets and stuff to mount it up. So yeah, we're gonna get working on it right now. So hang tight. All right, so now that we got the spare tire off and the stock carrier, which left some cool scratches, we got to remove these 2 plastic panels, and they pretty much just pull off. LOL. So then what we're gonna do is remove 1 hinge at a time. That way the tailgate stays in place. And the reason we need to remove it is to get in here, we need to drill out this pin. And basically the head is fixed here, so we need to drill that off, and then we'll be able to put the new brackets on. So I'll get this off, get things cleaned up, and go from there. Guys, shout out to Matco tools, because these things are so awesome. This wrench here, this driver, has a pivot head. So on stuff like this, you can get and swing away. I really like these. Better price point to snap on. And frankly, in my opinion, I think they're a little bit better. Call me crazy, but I like them. I got mine at Portland Tool Company. So if you're in the Portland area, hit them up on Instagram and get you one of these. These things are awesome. Okay, so next we need to remove these 4 Torx bits so we can get this inside and get it in the vise. When doing this, guys, make sure you use a high quality Torx bit so it doesn't strip these out. You know, don't use Harbor Freight or something like that. Use something nice like Matco. Shout out if you guys want to sponsor me. But something like that, because if these strip out, you're going to be in a world of trouble. So just always kind of apply forward pressure and take your time getting these out, because you do not want them to strip. All right, guys, so this part here, this is the rivet that holds this together. You can see it's closed on both sides. So what you want to do is, I'm going to just take a cutoff wheel and I'm going to cut the top of this off, and then I'll support it in the vise and I'll just drive it through. And that way we can use this bracket here on the new GENRIGHT bracket. All right, guys, so I got the new brackets on. I will say, if you live in the Northeast or anywhere where they use salt on the roads, I would plan on replacing these from the these OEM door brackets. There are these little pressed in kind of like bushing sleeves in here that keep this pin like right in the center, and if they get rusty they wear out and then they basically disintegrate, which makes this pin not fit. I couldn't find anyone locally that could push in new sleeves or press in new sleeves, but maybe you could. So I just bought for 70 bucks new hinge and had it powder coated. This one fit okay. It's a little sketchy, but I put a washer down here in the bottom, so that kind of keeps it level. Down the road I might end up replacing this one as well, but something to keep in mind. So now I'm going to get the tire carrier and get it hung. All right, guys, so that's that side on. So you can see this one here, it's slotted, so you can adjust the angle of how it goes, and then it goes into these different notches, so there is some adjustment there. So I'll have to get this side on first. But so far it looks pretty sweet. All right, cool, I'm gonna keep going. All right, guys, got the license plate taken off, that whole frame. So next what we got to do is this piece here, it's got to get bolted on there. You can see right now it's a little high. This line here needs to kind of match up with this body line here. So that means we need to adjust that pin on the other side, drop it down a little bit, but it's getting a little late, so I'll get to that tomorrow. We'll get this thing finished up, we'll get it back on the trail. See you tomorrow. Try to stay still. Oh boy.
I got it. I got it.
All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna start out with a small drill bit and then work my way up to the right side. Okay, so what I did was just the two top holes that I drilled out, I put the bolts in, put the nuts loosely on the back side, and then I'm gonna put this middle one in here and get it all kind of lined up and just kind of like snugged down, and then I'll mark the other holes. Another thing I did, because this one we took the powder coat, is I made this piece here. Let me get it in the shade so you can actually see what I'm talking about. And it's just a piece of cardboard. There was a template I used for something else, but I traced out the bracket and then punched out the holes, because each one of these bolts goes in a very specific location, and when GENRIGHT sends it to you, it's all already bolted together. So that way you keep track of what bolt goes where, which is super important. So we have all the holes drilled to 1/4 inch. So these two in between the bracket get a bump stop. So these two holes here and here need to get drilled to 5/16. so now the next step is these last 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, get drilled out to 1/2 inch. And that's just the outer wall. You don't want to do the inner wall. So now you take these white spacers and those get pushed in here, and they are a tight fit. So you will have to kind of work them in there, tap them in there with a rubber mallet, and they'll sit flush with the body. Now the bottom one is a little bit longer. So the bottom one goes down there as I drop it. Alright guys, there you have it. She's on there. We got the tire mounted up. Now this tire is temporary. I think there's a bit of a bigger one going on soon. But yeah, it came out great. I still have to mount this little cover plate here. I need some 3M tape to get on there, and then we get the license plate mounted up. But besides that, she's all done. Really high quality product. The all aluminum is nice because how light it is. So yeah, pretty stoked, and we'll catch you on the next one.